Welcome to the deep dive. It's really something how connected everything is now. Globalization, it's not just some academic term anymore. It's genuinely reshaping everything, every industry, sometimes in ways you don't even expect, right? Like the things we buy, the services we use every single day. So today we're diving deep into global development, ethics, and well-being in hospitality. We've got some really fascinating source material here, stuff that helps us get a handle on this, complex mix of global forces and, well, basic human values, especially in a big service industry like hospitality. Our mission really is to pull out the key insights from all this, help you understand the ethical side of this super connected world, the challenges, definitely, but also some maybe surprising ways to keep things balanced, keep your integrity. We'll look at how things like economic growth, tech, cultural exchange, how they change what it even means to be ethical today, globally. Okay, so let's unpack this first bit. Global development. We hear that phrase a lot, but what does it really mean, especially when we look at what our sources say?
Yeah, and what the research really points to is that it's much broader than just money or GDP. It's this really profound and actually accelerating process, improving living standards across the globe. And that's driven by, well, economic growth, sure, but also tech advances, amazing cultural exchange, education becoming more widespread, and just more global cooperation. What's really striking is how directly this plugs into hospitality. I mean, think about it. Hotels, restaurants, they're like mini global hubs now. They have guests, staff from absolutely everywhere. So understanding the ethics of all that intense globalization, it's not optional anymore. It's essential for anyone in the field.
That totally makes sense. And it's not all just hurdles and problems, is it? Thinking about this global connection in hospitality, what are some of the maybe less obvious but really positive things that jumped out from the sources?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely not all challenges. Beyond the clear economic pluses, what's really cool is how it sparks this exchange. You see real cross-cultural learning happening on the ground. Staff picking up new customs, different ways of interacting, maybe even bits of language from guests and colleagues. Then there's the tech transfer. Things like mobile check-in, sophisticated booking systems. They spread globally, making things way more efficient. And a big one, it creates amazing career paths. Students, professionals, they can intern or work abroad, get experience they just couldn't get at home.
Right. And here's where it gets really concrete, I thought. The sources had this great example, like Indian students training in Italy, learning amazing culinary skills, then bringing that back, but blending it with, traditional Indian hospitality values. That's such a perfect picture of that fusion global know-how meets local heart, creates something totally new.
Exactly. That kind of synergy is a huge upside.
Okay, so the benefits are clear, they're compelling. But this connection, it inevitably creates friction too. Our sources definitely paint a picture of, well, real complexities. What are some of the main ethical headaches, the conflicts that pop up because of this global development in hospitality?
Well, that really surfaces a key question. How do you handle clashing norms day to day? The materials we looked at highlight these everyday things that seem small but aren't, like greetings. One guest might expect a warm hug, another prefers a formal bow. Huge difference. Or dietary needs kosher, vegan, halal, the list goes on. That demands enormous respect, flexibility from everyone. Kitchen, front desk, even something like punctuality. Views on being on time vary wildly across cultures. That can easily cause friction if staff aren't trained to navigate it professionally.
And it's not just those face-to-face cultural things, is it? There's this other layer, the influence of mass media. That plays a bigger role than we might think. How did the sources talk about that?
Yeah, mass media is powerful, no doubt. The research suggests it can, sometimes without meaning to, push these very materialistic lifestyles. It can create pressure, to live up to beauty standards or luxury standards that are often just unrealistic. Think about travel influencers on Instagram showing off hotel stays. Are they giving you the real picture? Or are they just pushing this surface level luxury vibe? And then guests arrive expecting that, even if it's not what the place is truly about. That gap creates problems ethically too.
That's a good point. And then there's cross-border education. It seems like it should be purely good, right? More learning, more exposure. But the sources point out some potential downsides too.
Exactly. It's a bit of a paradox. Getting that international training, great for your resume, great for networking, exposure to global best practices, huge upsides. But there are risks. One is potentially devaluing local traditions. Someone comes back with international training and maybe dismisses the old ways, even if they were effective locally. There's also the stress factor, intense competition, and something the sources called value dilution. Like ethical standards taught in one context might clash with local norms. They gave this example. Imagine a student trained in the UK comes back to a non-tipping country and starts pushing for tips because that's what they were taught. How do you square that? Which cultural norm takes precedence? It's like walking a cultural tightrope.
That idea of the cultural tightrope, it seems directly linked to this rise in materialistic values the sources talk about. They define it pretty clearly, don't they? Like prioritizing money, stuff, status over deeper things like honesty, empathy, real service.
Right. And when that happens, it leads to very real conflicts in the hospitality setting. You might see corners being cut on food quality to boost profits, or VIPs getting special treatment over regular walk-in guests, even if the walk-in has a greater need. Misleading advertising is another one, promising fancy amenities. The material had this example, quite stark actually. A hotel markets itself as 5-star, promises all this amazing service, but then just doesn't deliver. That's not just bad business, it's an ethical lapse. It breaks trust.
So, okay, if you're working on the front line in this industry, dealing with these global pressures, the cultural mixes, the potential ethical traps, what does it mean for your daily choices? The sources actually lay out some pretty common ethical dilemmas you might run into.
Yeah, they get specific. Things like vendors offering kickbacks if you buy from them, or pressure from management to use ingredients that are maybe past their bet to save money, or even hiring decisions, the temptation to hire a friend or someone you just like instead of the best person for the job. Bias, basically. And the ethical responses, they're pretty clear, too, according to the sources. Refuse dodgy perks, report them, speak up if staff are being treated unfairly, use the proper channels, and be totally transparent with guest reviews, feedback, that sort of thing.
And beyond those sort of clearer examples, the sources threw out this really challenging question. It really makes you think about the so what for the person right there in the moment. Is it okay to bend the rules for guest satisfaction? That's a really tough one, isn't it? Makes you weigh up competing duties.
Definitely. No easy answer there.
So all these pressures, the global standards, cultural clashes, ethical tightropes, it's easy to see how that could lead to serious strain, anxiety, maybe even burnout for people working in hospitality. But our sources offered a really interesting angle on how to stay clear-headed and emotionally strong through it all.
Right, and this is where what they call therapeutic practices come into the picture.
Yeah.
They're positioned as really vital tools for restoring balance. The material puts a lot of emphasis on basically controlling the mind through things like exercise, which isn't just about getting fit. It genuinely boosts your mood, cuts down stress, helps you focus better, and gives you more stamina for those high-pressure shifts. They even mentioned a simple practice in a hospitality context, just taking a walk in the morning before your shift starts to clear your head.
What I found really compelling was how specific the sources got about things like meditation and yoga, not just mentioning them vaguely, but talking about actual applications.
Exactly. They broke down meditation, for instance, mindfulness meditation, to help you stay aware of the present moment, which is huge for reducing stress and really focusing on service. Breathing exercises were highlighted too for calming your nervous system, helps lower anxiety, regulate how you react when things get hectic, and guided visualization as a way to relax and recharge your batteries, maybe before a busy dinner service or after a long day. And yoga, well, that combines the physical movement, the breath, the posture, helps find that inner harmony, builds strength, improves posture, which helps with confidence and boosts mental resilience. The material even suggested specific yoga poses, like Tadasana for posture and confidence, or Vajrasana after meals to help digestion and calm nerves. Really practical stuff for people on their feet all day dealing with stress.
It's almost like the sources map out this whole cycle, isn't it? You have global development leading to more cross-cultural stuff, more tech, which can lead to more materialism, more ethical conflicts, which then causes stress, maybe compromising your values. But then these therapeutic practices, meditation, exercise, yoga, they can kind of step in and break that cycle, help you find balance again, get that ethical clarity back. It's a holistic view.
It really is. It connects the big global trends right down to individual well-being and coping strategies.
So, okay, let's try and boil this all down. As we wrap up this deep dive, what are the main takeaways for you listening right now? What are the absolute core things to remember from this whole exploration of ethics in global hospitality?
Okay, well, first off, I think it's just acknowledging that global development, it brings amazing progress, huge opportunities, but also real ethical pressures. It's both. A double-edged sword, you know. Second, professionals today, especially in service, have to constantly do this balancing act between embracing the modern tech, the global standards, and respecting culture, staying true to core values. It's an ongoing dance. Third, the research is pretty clear. letting materialistic values take over. It shouldn't happen at the expense of guest well-being or how staff are treated. Those have to remain central. Fourth, and this feels really crucial, these therapeutic tools like yoga, meditation, even just exercise, they aren't just fluffy wellness extras. They're actually vital for staying ethically grounded and emotionally resilient in these demanding, fast-paced global jobs. And finally, maybe the most important thing, ethical hospitality really, it starts inside. With self-awareness, with compassion, with being sensitive to the world's diversity, it really boils down to how you approach every single interaction.
This whole deep dive, it's a powerful reminder, isn't it? In a world that's always pushing for more efficiency, new standards, faster everything. Sometimes the most important thing, the thing with the deepest impact, is just holding on to your ethical compass and taking care of your own well-being so you can hold on to it. So maybe a final thought for you to mull over.
Yeah.
What are your personal asanas, so to speak? They're mental practices. What do you do to stay grounded, stay ethically clear when the world around you feels like it's pulling you in a million different directions? And maybe think about how these ideas, they don't just apply to hotels or restaurants, right? They apply anywhere global influences, tricky ethical choices, and your own personal well-being cross paths, which these days is pretty much everywhere.